Welcome to the Arroyo Seco Weekend podcast, a chance to get to know some of the players, makers, and thinkers who are coming together for a spectacular weekend in beautiful Pasadena. On today's podcast, we'll get up and dance with uplifting indie rockers, the Mowglis.
A big intention behind the start of this band's career has been to bring positivity into the world.
We'll also try a taste of the artisanal kombucha brewed up by the folks at Feathers Kombucha.
We're just real hands-on DIY people, so we just started making it. Our first batches were terrible, but we kept with it.
And we'll satisfy another one of your senses by learning how to make a successful scent from fragrance designer Andre Barnwell.
My own fragrance line, it took me 18 months of working on it every day because I was telling a story through liquid.
So stick around for all that and more on the Sunday edition of the Arroyo Seco Weekend podcast. Thanks for listening.
Sometimes I just close my eyes and wish that I could dream. With the buildings stacking up and the windows closing in, the city is gonna swallow us and spit us out again. But I see fields of green for miles.
The song you're hearing is called Room for All of Us by the Los Angeles band the Mowglis. Is typical of the band's boisterous indie rock sound, with lyrics that more often than not reflect the positive side of life rather than the downers we all face.
We grew up on so much negative music in the 90s. So much depressing, rock and roll was happening in my childhood, at least.
That's guitarist-singer Josh Hogan, who makes up 1/6 of the band's current lineup.
And so I thought, why not flip that? Because you can listen to sad music and let it make you sad all day long. Or you can make the choice to listen to something happy that makes you get off your ass and go out in the world and do something cool.
I feel like it's unrealistic to say that we always are writing super positive, inspiring music.
That's Katie Earle, Josh's fiancée and singer-percussionist in the band.
We try to just drive those messages by being honest in our music and writing what's true to whatever that writer is feeling at the time. I think our goal is really to be honest with our audience.
Like many LA bands, the Mowglis started out as a group of aspiring musicians, some native to Southern California, others transplants, who came to the city to pursue their musical passions. And like many artists who struggle to find their place in the vastness of Los Angeles, these young musicians formed their own community to sustain their creative endeavors.
We all met up in the local LA music scene. We were playing with each other's bands or supporting each other's bands, opening up for each other's bands. And little by little and day by day, it just kind of became this community that we named the Collective CA. And it was just a little community of bands. And at the end of the night, the Mowglis was this super group. It was almost this collection, these bits and pieces of all of the bands and the scene we had created.
We didn't want to have competing shows with our friends on a Wednesday night. It's hard enough. And so we just wanted to come together and create that.
I remember a lot of people from the San Francisco music scene when we first started going up there, a lot of them talking about the LA music scene like, oh yeah, it's so competitive out there and it's so cutthroat. And I blissfully just entered the music scene through this community. So I never saw it that way. And maybe these communities come together because LA is cutthroat and people need a community, so they create it and they build it for themselves. But I've never known it to be those things. I've only ever known it to be kind of communal and supportive. And if you can't be happy for other people's success and push their success, then I don't really know if you can ever really truly find it for yourself,
It was a trip to San Francisco that would inspire the Mowglis' first breakthrough, a song titled San Francisco. They posted a demo of the song on a then-new website called Bandcamp that allowed musicians to sell music directly to fans with no label or other middlemen. That same summer, the band moved to a house in Venice Beach, where they really began honing their chops as a group.
We had a band house, and
we played every bar on the beach.
Every bar after party from any time to any time. We had our own whole new community out there, which was an incredible little phase of our band's life. I think that gave us a lot of confidence going out there and seeing people dancing to our music, and instead of folding their arms or like not paying attention at all.
And it gave us kind of a perspective also that I think shines through our music.
Yeah, I think the Venice crowd just seemed a little more free-spirited. Like they didn't care what the people in the room thought about their weird dance moves.
Right. Less restrictions. Yeah, less shoes, less bras, more hair, a lot of dancing.
The Mowglis no longer all live together in a house in Venice. In fact, they hardly live anywhere. Or should I say, they kind of live everywhere. Earl and Hogan have a small apartment in Hollywood that they share with their 2 rescue dogs. But both musicians and their pets spend most of their lives on the road.
These dogs are in all sorts of pictures and videos because they are road dogs. They're our tour companions and our life companions.
This year alone, the Mowglis and their canine companions have played gigs in nearly 30 cities across America. And this is an off-cycle year for them, meaning the band is now spending more time at home to prepare for their next record. But the Mowglis still head out most weekends to play for audiences that keep getting bigger and bigger. At least for Arroyo Seco Weekend, they won't have far to travel.
We got to chill at home for a week or so, and then we've been doing these weekend gigs, which are really fun because I feel like we come home and we just spend like 4 days hiding by ourselves, and then we meet up.
Yeah, and we get to be rock stars for the weekend, It's like
it's
walk
really
your
good.
dogs Monday through Friday and clean the apartment, pick up dog poop, work out when you can, cook at home, and then on Saturday and Sunday you get to go play a festival gig and act like a rock star, so it's pretty fun.
If we stop to look around, there's room for all of us. Soon we'll find out there's love in all of us. To run and live, to die, to finally feel alive. Just stop and look around. There's room for all of us.
Like most people, we didn't love it at first. It grows on you.
That's Jodine Penev West talking about the acquired taste that is taking over the shelves at your local market, kombucha. Jodine runs Feathers Kombucha in Long Beach.
I think through the emergence of other brands, more and more people were able to get past the maybe initial smell and flavor and started experiencing the positive health benefits.
That's Jay, Jodine's husband and partner in Fine Feathers.
Now in 2017, we have probably for the first time found ourselves in a situation where we don't have to explain what kombucha is to people.
But in case you don't know, we asked Jodine and Jay to explain kombucha to the uninitiated.
Kombucha is basically a fermented tea beverage. It's probiotic, semi-sweet, semi-sour, loaded with probiotics, loaded with enzymes. And through the process of fermentation, it gets inoculated, I guess, with B vitamins, vitamin C, organic acids.
Perhaps because of its uniqueness, kombucha has exploded in recent years as a popular beverage among health-conscious consumers who drink it for its probiotic properties.
Basically start with a sweet tea mixture, and then you add the kombucha culture to it.
Yeah, it's essentially the process similar to the one of making beer and wine and yogurt and vinegar, and yet it's none of those things really. Kombucha is really amazing because it's a very unique thing.
Perhaps because of its uniqueness, kombucha has exploded in recent years as a popular beverage among health-conscious consumers who drink it for its probiotic properties.
This is a natural probiotic, so it helps aid in digestion. Your gut is really a powerhouse. Immunity levels, serotonin levels, keeping your gut happy, healthy is no joke.
It's also strangely addictive once you get used to the flavor, especially if you're drinking one of Fine Feathers' distinct batches.
We're proponents of quality teas. We have a kombucha, for example, that's fermented with a white tea that's rare. It's called Silver Needles. The tea alone is picked 2 to 3 days out of the year and retails for about $180 a pound. So we make a kombucha with that.
And that's our best seller.
Yeah, and that's...
Because I think people taste the difference, you know?
You can try their Silver Needle Kombucha for yourself when Fine Feathers sets up shop at Arroyo Seco Weekend. Whether you're a kombucha connoisseur or a beginner in the world of fermented beverages, there's no better place for sampling new flavors in music, food, and drinks than at a festival.
Kombucha's not going away. Feel the benefits, it really gets into your system, and forget it, you'll start a company.
Of all the senses that get stimulated at an outdoor festival, the sound of the music in your ears, the sight of the sky over your head, the taste of the food and drinks on your tongue, the feeling of the grass beneath your feet, the one sense that is most often neglected is smell. Sure, the fresh air can be nice, as long as the person next to you isn't overwhelming it with his or her own aroma. Andre Barnwell has made a career out of helping people smell good. His fragrance brand was a California success story, sold in fine boutique and top-end department stores across the country. He now teaches fragrance design at the Fashion Institute of Design and Merchandising in downtown Los Angeles, and he even wrote a book, one of the few on the subject, that focuses on the art and industry of creating a fragrance brand. It's called Fashion Designers and Fragrance, the perfect brand extension.
So I created my own fragrance line from scratch. It was called Rocks. It actually had little stones in the bottle. I launched it in California. I was able to get it into Nordstrom's, and that's when I went from this guy with a fragrance to Mr. Barnwell. I thought I was going to be the next great tie designer. A suit and all that kind of stuff was way too much, but I knew that a tie was something that I could think about, I could construct it totally myself, and present it. So I knew that that's the kind of designer I was, that it had to be something I had total control over the concept. I was at a library on a Saturday, Martin Luther King Library in Washington, D.C., just looking for some source materials for the ties. And I said I was going to be there a couple of hours, and about 15 minutes in me being there, I got bored stiff, and I said, no, I'm not going home, I'm going to stay. So I figured I'll just kind of reset my enthusiasm by maybe going around, walking around the library, do something, and, maybe it'll get me back on track. And I just saw a aromatherapy book, and it just said how to perfume, like how to create your own little batch for yourself. And it just clicked. It's like, that's it.
At Arroyo Seco, Barnwell will host a scent lab, located at the white inflatable 3 dunnage balls art piece by Peter Tolkien Architecture. In the middle of this large air-filled installation, festival guests can learn how to craft their own personal atmosphere using natural oils.
I'm going to kind of give you the basic kind of skill set that you need so that you're educated not only if you want to do it yourself, but you're educated in purchasing your own stuff. But I'm going to walk you through. Like, why is a top note a top note? It's the lightest of the smells. Literally, chemically, it's light. What are top notes? Those are like your fruits. Your middle notes are a little bit heavier. Those are coming mostly from flowers. Your roses and your jasmines, your lilacs, your carnations. The heaviest notes to smell are your cedar woods, your spices, a lot of your heavier, your barks, anything that's heavy that's an oil, patchouli, things like that are heavier notes. And literally what you want to have, what's a well-balanced fragrance? It has at least one of those in each category. It can have more than that. It can have 500 top notes, 1,000 middle notes. But the same formula applies.
Of course, everyone has their own favorite fragrance. And there are literally thousands of perfumes, colognes, and body sprays sold online and in stores. But Barnwell believes that personalized perfumes, like customizable fashion and artisanal eats, are the future of the fragrance industry.
Knowing what a fragrance will do for someone in a room, when people come up to you and say, wow, what do you have on? People, that's a big deal. People like that. And you want to keep that because that becomes your signature.
That's it for the Sunday episode of Arroyo Seco Weekend podcast. We hope you enjoyed it, and we hope you'll have a great time today in Pasadena. To learn more about the festival, take some time to explore the Arroyo Seco mobile app. This podcast was produced for Arroyo Seco Weekend by CuriousContent.Studio. Take care, and thanks for listening.